I am going to show you how just last month we just did a massive launch for one of the brands that we work with. It was actually a $456,000 in a 24-hour period launch. Now, this didn't come together randomly. We've actually been working for this brand for 6 to 7 months. There's been a lot of things that we've done to get to this point where we can do $456,000 in one day. Now, I'm going to share the strategy. I'm going to share with you how we pulled this off and really the things that the business had to change to also help us pull this off as well. So let me show you how this works out. So the strategy was great. What I liked about it is it wasn't an overnight success. It took us a lot of work to get to this point. And what you're seeing here is the effort of 6 to 7 months working one-on-one with this brand to make this happen and to get to this point. So here is actual spend receipts, for example, of that launch in March. You can see our campaigns. You can see how much we spent, how much was made. You can see that this was actually a 24-hour period. Now I'm going to walk through the strategy of why some people ask, why is it only 24 hours? Why is it not over 2 days or for the rest of the month? Why don't you keep spending money? It's because of this particular business model and that strategy of why we do it. So let's dive in. Okay, so the background. So the first thing you need to know is that this brand, it is a influencer artist. So this influencer on TikTok and YouTube, they have a big following and they are an artist and they make pieces of art. Also, what you need to know is that their business model is a drop model. So where every single month they launch new products, as you can see. So every month they're building up to launch a new product, and that goes into the strategy, which I'll share in a few moments. It's also a high average order value, so it's about $500 to $600. That's the average order value, so it's pretty significant. And if it was a lower AOV product, it might not have gone so well, but it's also high margin as well. But the issue that they had when we started working together was they had highly inconsistent launches. They are launching monthly now, but when we started working together, it was very inconsistent. It was every couple months or once a quarter, and there's a lot of reasons for that, which I'll get into in a few moments. But that inconsistency is what was the biggest issue to scaling revenue and predictability and profit, is they had to make it more consistent. And also when we started working with them, it's important to know as well is they do all their production in-house, meaning they're an artist. So the artists will talk about this next launch, this next design, and they have a team that helped them create those things. And that's a bit of a production nightmare. I'll go into how we've changed since working with them. They also had no marketing calendar. It's kind of laughable. We came in and we said, okay, show us your marketing calendar, your activities. And they couldn't give us more than just a couple months of what they had planned. And that's a big problem because every month they're kind of scrambling to find out what they're going to do and sometimes randomly throwing things together. But the biggest part was when they started working with us, they didn't have a strong strategy for this model. We have done so many brands in this space, and especially using this type of drop model, that it's a playbook that we've developed over the years of doing it so much. But if a person doesn't execute it like that, we see this all the time where they're going to have inconsistent revenue, inconsistent profit, and frankly, they're not going to have the growth that they need. So what was the strategy? Let's dive in. So the first thing we did when we started working together is we had to tighten up the drop model. I'm going to show you the meta ad account. I'm going to talk through our strategy in a second, but this is important to know is because it's not just a meta ad account problem. It was also an overarching strategy problem. And for my agency, we don't just use meta, we use strategies and playbooks that we've used and tested over the years that informs how to execute on the meta side. So it's never just a meta ad account problem. It's a bigger strategy problem. So the first thing is we help them tighten up. So for our content calendars that we use for our brands is we map alongside of it, what's their average revenue they've gotten every single month for the last 12 months. And so the first thing we did is we had them work on the logistics behind the scenes so that they could do monthly drops. Because before, if you remember, they were highly inconsistent. So we said we need to do a monthly drop, have it planned, because it's that consistency and that momentum is what creates a growing brand and that growing consistency. So what we had them do is rather than doing it randomly, we want them to launch a new drop every month on the same week and on the same day. So for example, every third Friday of a month now they do a drop. Whereas before it was highly inconsistent, because why that's important is it trains your customers and it trains other people who aren't a customer yet, but have been observing you, what they can expect so that they can jump on the next bandwagon. Also, what we had to do is we had to make it consistent and streamlined. So the strategies and how we execute those every month became streamlined and standardized. Also, what it did is by doing this, it creates 3 critical parts that are necessary for this business model. Again, we've done this so many times that we know that if these 3 parts don't exist, it will not be successful. But the crazy part is that by building this consistency where you launch every month on the same week and on the same day, it creates these 3 things, which I'll explain that in more detail. Scarcity, consistency, and community. By doing this drop, consistently every single month, you end up building attention. That attention creates more of a raving fan base and a community. And that by doing a drop model, you also create scarcity, which I'll go into in a few moments. These are critical to having a successful business that does this drop model. It's critical for the success on the meta ads. It's also critical for your profit. And I'll go into how that works in a second. So once we tighten that up, the next thing we did is we had to focus on training the community to be that's truly scarce. This is where a lot of people go wrong that have this model is they'll launch something, but they'll maybe keep reordering more stock. We actually think that's better to develop that scarcity, even if it's manufactured. So let me show you what I mean by this. So for example, when we do this for brands, we'll create a landing page like this. He has a countdown timer. But another thing that we do is throughout the language of the landing page, in the ads, after they sign up on the landing page, in the emails that they get, we're purposefully telling them that it's only live for 24 hours. When we drop, you have 24 hours to take advantage of this, otherwise it's gone. And it's important to do that because it builds momentum. What happens is people who have maybe said, oh, I want a drop 3 months ago, when they see that you've had 3 drops and every single time you mean what you say, they're going to pay attention. And when they raise their hand that they want this drop and they want to spend their money on it, they are going to execute it. And I'll show you what that looks like. Another thing we do as well is here's an example of a brand that does a drop model. Same thing, where you have a lander that builds scarcity. You have also on the website where everything looks sold out. So unless you're doing a drop this month, everything else looks sold out. You can't buy anything else. And then what that does is it plays on the psyche that these guys are hot. These products people want. And if I want this, I better do something about it. And also what we do as well on the social side, so what the brand does is you can see if you go through the last 2 months on their social, everything is sold out. They'll launch a product. This is going live, sold out, sold out, sold out. They do that all the time. And that's what builds this truly scarce mentality of these guys, their products are hot, they sell out. And if I don't pull the trigger when they go live, I will not get it. And that's really important to build that. So how do we do this on the execution side? It's pretty simple, is we launch with pre-orders because they have to create these products. So what that means is they can't make all the products and then launch it. What they do is they launch it, it's a pre-order, and they set really clear expectations. That's going to take us, 7, 10, 14 days to create it, and it's a pre-order. So what it looks like in the Meta ad account is you can see right here, you have our ads where we, following our product launch formula, which I'll go into in a few moments, is we have the tease phase where we're purposefully teasing people that this is going to be launching in 14 days to make sure you sign up for an exclusive club. And you can see here we're running that has a significant amount of our budget because, and also right here, the tease, because we're trying to invite as many people as we can for this drop. Again, because we can say it's only live for 24 hours, so you better get ready to pull the trigger. And you can see how much money it made. And then on the actual launch, we really only launch for that day. So it's only for a 24-hour period where we put money behind it and spend. So when we do that, typically what we do here is we have the tease, we have different audiences that we break things out. And for 14 days, we pump it really hard to get people to sign up for it. And then when we launch, we really only launch just for that day. Again, different audiences to just get in front of as many people as we can. But what we do as well is leading up to the launch, we're trying to pump that landing page you saw of the opt-in with as many contacts as possible. So you can see here how much we're spending driving people to that landing page or to other landing pages we make, how many leads that we get and what that cost per lead is. You may be thinking, man, that's really high. You're right. That cost per lead is high. But the reason we can do is because it has an insanely high conversion rate. Like I said, we've done this for a lot of brands over the last 5 years. And we know that when we execute this playbook this way, typically that opt-in club has about a 20% conversion rate. So it's about 20% of those people predictably are going to actually purchase that product. Again, there's other parts of the strategy of once they opt in, how do we keep them engaged? How do we keep them wanting to spend their money with us? Which that's a whole nother video. But this is why it works so well. So again, we ramp up, get people opt in to raise their hand that they want the product. And that scarcity proves over and over again that if they do not buy the product, someone else will, and that's going to be gone because what we always do is it's always sold out. Now, what I didn't mention is on the building scarcity part, why this is important is here's how it works. We launch for 24 hours only. As soon as the 24 hours are up, even if we didn't sell all the products or inventory, we immediately take it down. Immediately. Again, that's because we're building the perception that if they do not buy it, it's gone. And then once it has sold out, we send an email, they send an organic post, a story that it's been sold out. Then we plan for the next launch and again, take it down 24 hours after it's been live. Now, what's interesting is that the stock that we don't sell or extra materials that we don't sell, what we do is we hold it. We hold it for the end of the year or twice a year if you want to do like a mid-year sell through. What we'll do is we'll hold it and then just do another really big launch where we have additional stock that then we will tell people that they can get. But by doing this, I can't over exaggerate this enough. I cannot begin to tell you how many times we see in comments in the ads, comments on the organic, people replying to emails saying, oh my gosh, I hope I can get it this time. I've tried for like the last two. Oh my gosh, every time I try to get it, I miss it because it was only live for 24 hours. That's a huge advantage where you have people begging you for the next launch because they want to give you their money for that product. Now, the next thing is, so how does this work? So we're using our product drop formula. I've done other videos about this. Essentially, between every drop, there's always 4 phases that we're doing for the strategy. So yes, it's on Meta, and all these 4 phases we use Meta ads for. So the first thing is we're forecasting how many new versus returning customers do we need to get to buy to hit a target. So this brand, if they want to do $500,000 in the next launch, we have to forecast how many new versus returning customers. But then we also, what we do is we forecast how much Meta spend. So you can see right here, we spent, what was that? Probably like $40,000. How much Meta spend do we have to spend to get that $400,000 in that 24-hour period? So for us, before we ever did this launch, we forecasted, calculate how much money we need to hit $400,000, and that's what it was. Then we ramp up, we acquire new customers or leads at scale to guarantee hitting those targets. We'll reverse engineer to hit $500,000, or really $400,000 in that 24-hour period. What we need is we need 3,600 people to raise their hand that they want this product, because we know 20% of those 3,600 are going to buy. And that's how you do that calculation. Then we do the tease and the hype. And there's a lot of specifics to this, but this is like the overarching strategy, is we tell people it's coming soon. We have some kind of a club they have to opt into of, yes, I want it, join this blank club. And then once they sign up for it, you want to do specific things to always build hype. Like there's a lot of things you can do. There's actually 10 different hype builders you can use. But the secret here is once they sign up, don't just not contact them and don't message them. Now you want to send them emails, send them text messages, do updates in your stories, in your organic posts of new things to build hype. That can be a promo reel. That can be things like, first 20 people that buy get this. That can also be, oh, by the way, whoever buys on this day is going to get a sneak peek at this. Different things you can do to get people to literally be waiting by their computer to buy that product when it goes live. And then last part is you launch, right? But launch with scarcity. So the success of this drop model is to always launch with scarcity, meaning it's going to sell out. We're not going to keep it forever, because that just adds to the psyche that where people want something that is rare that not everyone else has. And like I said, this is from our 7-figure product drop playbook. It's done $2 million in 24 hours. It's done many, many $1 million days, and it's done many, many 6 figures in 24 hours as well. So that's it, guys. That's the strategy. It crushes. I've tested this probably nearly 100 times at this point over the last 5 years for different brands. We have a lot of secrets and playbooks that have helped us to get to this point. So give it a try. It's been a huge help. All right, guys, that's it. That is how even last month we did $456,000 in a 24-hour period. If you like that or have questions, make sure you drop a comment below. I answer all my comments. Also, make sure you like and subscribe. This is a channel where I give away the secrets of how our agency is growing and scaling brands so aggressively. And then I'll see you in the next video.